This is just making my mouth water. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. It's like Christmas Eve. I'm so excited. The VeryVera Cookbook is going to be out in just a few short weeks. I want to thank everybody that's been pre-ordering the book, and today I'm going to give you a sneak peek. We're going to do 3 of my favorite recipes from the book. We're going to start with Bitsy's Meatloaf. Bitsy is my older sister. As a child, I used to go visit her as a newlywed, and this was one of the dishes that she would always make. It's really moist, has a great sauce. Then we're going to move into Mama's Egg Salad. This is my mama's recipe. It's great for a spread, wonderful on a sandwich. And then finally, for those of you that used to eat lunch at Vera's Cafe, you're going to love Vera's signature chicken salad. So we're going to make some recipe menus that go with these, and then we're going to take a trip to my house and put it all together. So let's get started on the Bitsy's Meatloaf. All right, we're ready to get started on cooking, and Bitsy's Meatloaf is my older sister, Bitsy. She's 10 years older than me, and when I was little, I used to go visit her as a newlywed, and this was one of her favorite meals to prepare for me, so I've just got a lot of sentimental value attached to this, and then we adopted it at VeryVera, so we used it at our lunch, in our lunch cafe. We also did it for catered events. I did put a twist on it though. You know how I am about putting twist on recipes. So Bitsy's recipe used tomato sauce, and we do marinara sauce in the recipe. So that's how I've kind of made it my own. But it does have her name on it. I love this recipe. So one of the things that makes this different is it has a delicious sauce that goes on top in the last 10 minutes of baking. So it uses marinara, yellow French's mustard, brown sugar, and vinegar. We're just going to mix this up. And I think this is probably one of my favorite parts to this recipe is it has this really great tangy sauce that you put on it in the last 10 minutes of baking. All right, so that's just going to sit to one side because we won't need that until the end. So now we're ready to get started on the actual meatloaf. So I've gone ahead and sprayed my meatloaf pan, and when I make this at home, I go ahead and do like 5 of them at one time because they freeze beautifully. It's a great gift too if you need to take dinner to a friend. So this uses 80/20 ground chuck. I'm going to add to that some either mild or hot sausage. Because you're only putting in 1/4 of a pound, I really like to have a little bit of heat to it. Now I'm going to add in panko breadcrumbs. Another tip I'll give you is to let that hamburger meat kind of sit out, because the best way to mix this is with your hands, and if the meat's too cold, it kind of chills you out. Vidalia onion. We've got more marinara sauce in the actual meatloaf part as well, where she would have done tomato sauce. All right, then I've got a whole egg, some salt, pepper, and Worcestershire sauce, which is another awesome part of this recipe. All right, so I'm going to start with my spatula just to kind of get it going. But one of the things that I really want to emphasize about this recipe is the only way you're going to get it consistency-wise the way you want it is you're going to have to get in there with your hands. There are a lot of breadcrumbs in this, which is one of the reasons why it is so moist. Getting that spicy sausage mixed in is another reason. You want to make sure that that's mixed together. So just get in there with your hands and really mix it together. The other thing, a lot of times people will say, well, my children won't eat onions. You don't have to put the onions in there, or you could chop them a little bit finer than we've chopped them today, and then they're going to almost disintegrate. The kids will never even know they're there. This is another item at the fresh market that they run on sale every week is hamburger meat. So for $2.99, I'd certainly recommend just grab you a great big bowl out of your kitchen and go ahead and make a bunch of these while you're doing it. But this makes 1 loaf pan full, and you can probably serve 6 people from this recipe, if you've got a lot of other things going on with it, like mashed potatoes, broccoli, a great salad, you might be able to stretch it to 8. I know some people will say, well, my husband would eat half of that loaf pan. All right, so my prepared pan, I'm just gonna place that down in there. Really mash it down really well with the back of your hand so you don't have any air pockets. And at this point you can freeze it, or this is gonna pop into a 350-degree oven for about 50 minutes. Then you'll pull it out, put the sauce on, and then put it back in for the last 10. All right, so come back with me after the break. We're gonna get started on egg salad and chicken salad. Welcome back, everybody, and the meatloaf is in the oven and the kitchen just smells fantastic. This is one of those recipes that if you want to get this done, get that in the oven while the children and the husband are at work and they come in, oh my gosh, it's going to be a great night for dinner at your house. So we're going to get started now on two of my other favorite recipes, the Mama's Egg Salad, which I love this photo that has my mom and my grandmother that says, just like Mama made it, because so many of the recipes in the VeryVera Cookbook are just like your mama made it, or just like your grandmother made it. You may be very inclined to think, gosh, we had a recipe just like that in our family. So these are all really great, wonderful, easy family recipes that I really hope that you and your family are going to enjoy preparing. So we're going to get started with the Mama's Egg Salad, and to make it into sandwiches, I want to get a little bit more of a finer chop on my egg than I would if I was just using it as a spread. So I love to use these little contraptions that you can slice your egg with. Just do it one way and then turn it and do it the other. So that just makes it really easy. Now the sauce for this egg salad is where I introduce our secret ingredient. You know, these recipes have never been shared. In 33 years of being in business, I never let the recipes for any of the products that we sold at VeryVera come to life. So now you're getting to know all the secrets. So in this recipe, the sauce is Hellmann's mayonnaise. I use a Mount Olive pickle relish, which is kind of a, you know, a sweet pickle relish. Some people call it India relish. And then Durkee sauce. And so many people have no idea what that is or where to find it. So it's on the aisle where all the mustards are. It's actually a mustard mayonnaise kind of blended sauce. And you have not had a turkey sandwich the day after Thanksgiving unless you have put Durkee sauce on it. It is fantastic. All right, so I added a little bit of salt and pepper, and then you just want to mix this together. And as I said, this recipe can be just great as a really wonderful thick spread to put on crackers for an appetizer at a cocktail party, or we're going to make tea sandwiches out of this. So just add your sauce into your eggs. And this will last in the refrigerator for about 7 days if it lasts that long. So it has a good long shelf life. And I could just eat this whole bowl with just a good Triscuit or a wheat thin. It's just a great spread. All right, so let's get started on the chicken salad. So on Tuesdays, the Fresh Market has those chicken breasts on sale for $2.99. So go ahead and stock up on them. You can put them in the freezer. When you're ready to make this chicken salad, you want to pull out your food processor, boil the chicken breast until they're at an internal temperature that they're done, and then you want to put the chicken breast in the food processor. And I really like this signature chicken salad to have a really nice, fine consistency to it. So this is ready to go, all the evenly distributed. Now I'm going to add in pecans, green onion, and you're going to think, wow, that is a lot of green onion. But you know, everybody's got their favorite chicken salad, and we will love this flavor in this. All right, again, Hellmann's mayonnaise. I'm going to add to that tarragon, which is the secret ingredient in this recipe. We've got pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And this recipe too has a 7-day shelf life if it would last that long. But you know, these are all so versatile, and honestly, just the smell of that tarragon, it's kind of licorice-like, but it just works really well with chicken. In fact, you know, try that ingredient, that spice, the next time you do any kind of chicken dish. You're gonna really love the way that works with chicken. Now I'm gonna add my sauce to the meat. You know, so many times on the Very Vera show, we'll do recipes that are something new or trendy, and I have to kind of study it, but I can almost make these without even having to look anymore. I've made them for so long. So we're just gonna mix this together. And it's, you know, what I'm hoping that people are gonna get out of this is the opportunity to make their favorite recipe out of the book and then go back in time to when you used to enjoy it at Very Vera. So come back with us after the break. We're gonna get some more information on measuring in Vera's Corner and put all of this together. In the Very Vera Cookbook, I wanted to educate as much as possible on basic methods. So today I'm going to go over the basics of dry and wet measuring. Dry measuring cups are used for ingredients that need to be leveled off. This could be flour, sugar, mayonnaise, or a number of other ingredients. To correctly measure flour, lightly scoop the flour into the measuring cup using a spoon or a scoop. When you have overfilled the cup, level off with a flat edge. If a recipe calls for packed brown sugar, fill the cup with brown sugar and use your hand or a spoon to press the brown sugar into the cup. If the sugar retains its shape when you dump it out, you've packed it correctly. Wet ingredients can be measured using a liquid measuring cup since they don't need to be leveled off. When using a liquid measuring cup, make sure you get eye level with the liquid line to accurately see the measurement. To ease cleanup when measuring honey, molasses, or other sticky liquids, spray your measuring cup with cooking spray before you begin. Your sticky ingredient will basically slide right out when you're finished, making cleanup a breeze. We've covered the basics of measuring, so now you can cook with more confidence than ever. Find cooking tips like this in the Very Vera Cookbook. Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to my home. I actually took quite a number of pictures for the cookbook in my home, and we're now in the dining room, which is one of the largest rooms in my house. It was actually a living room that I converted into the dining room because it had a fireplace. I could put all the leaves in my dining room table, and I could have friends and family over and not have people in separate rooms. So this has really worked out really well for us. So I'm really excited to present one of the menus that's in the back of the cookbook. This is the meatloaf stack, which sounds like a very casual meal, and it could actually be done that way, but we've actually plated it so that it could become a very formal meal. So let's talk about the meatloaf stack. It starts with regular mashed potatoes, your favorite recipe, but what you're going to do to it is you're going to put the Vidalia onion dip in the mashed potatoes. So in the back of the cookbook, we give you all of these suggestions in menu form with the pages that these recipes can be found on. So you're basically going to take your mashed potatoes, warm up the Vidalia onion dip, fold it into the mashed potatoes. If it's not creamy enough, you can add some extra cream, and that becomes the bottom layer to the meatloaf stack. The next layer is the creamed spinach, and for those of you that loved everything but the turkey package at Very Vera, the creamed spinach was a very popular side dish that we prepared. It's really basic: cream, Parmesan cheese, a little bit of spices, garlic. It's just delicious, but it really looks great on top of these mashed potatoes. All right, the third stack to this is the meatloaf, which we made today. It's really delicious. I'm cutting 2 thin slices, layering that side to side on the plate, and then you want to just make sure that you've got enough laying over the edge just to make a really beautiful presentation. And then finally, we're going to put a little bit of the marinara sauce that was the secret ingredient in this recipe on top, and just, you can dot it all around the edges of the plate, or you could just really smother it. But remember, it's tart and tangy, and you don't want to cover up all of the other things that are part of the meatloaf stack. And then finally, we're going to really make it look gourmet by putting some of Fresh Market's fried okra on top. And you can get really crazy with that, but it really makes a beautiful presentation. Our idea here is for this to be a formal presentation, but if you wanted to do this casually as a buffet, you could do each dish separately, choose vessels that you already have that the food would look really great in, and it becomes a great outside event. It could be done very casually, even family style around your dining room table. So when we come back from the break, we're going to go in and do a cocktail party demonstration in my family room, which is one of the more casual rooms of the house, and actually has a lot of colors that make the vessels that I'm going to use for that presentation really attractive. So I hope you'll come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and hopefully you've gotten some great ideas for your next dinner party, whether it's formal or casual with the meatloaf stack. So now we're talking about a cocktail party, which is also another menu that's in the back of the cookbook. And so for me, when I'm entertaining, I love to decide where I want the food to go, and then I pick my vessels first, and then I get the recipe second. So I know that sounds a little backward, but I'm in my family room now. In this room, I have a lot of pottery, have a lot of wood. My colors are blues and grays and tans. So I really love to do my cocktail parties with the food in this room and kind of do a little bit more of a casual feel. So we've done 2 recipes today that would work really well for a cocktail party, whether it's formal again or casual as we're doing here. So we made the egg salad, Mama's egg salad. It was just a delicious recipe, very easy to make. My key ingredients are Hellmann's mayonnaise and Durkee's, which you certainly want to pick up if you're going to make that recipe. No substitutions there. And then remember, if you're going to do it in a petite sandwich, that you want to cut up the egg kind of small so it'll stay within the sandwich really well. Then we did the Vera signature chicken salad, which was an all-time favorite in our cafe. It was perfect on just a bed of lettuce, but it was also really great in a sandwich. So I love to do the cocktail sandwiches. And you know, believe it or not, these are so popular at a cocktail party. You know, if you've got young children, if you're having friends over, let them put these on a platter and walk around and act as servers and pass the food. It's really so much fun. We do that a lot with our campers. So in terms of displaying this and doing a little bit of variety, we've also got our Vidalia onion dip that we use today in the mashed potatoes for the meatloaf stack. I've presented it here in the way that it's in the cookbook as a dip. It can be served at room temperature. It's really great hot in a chafing dish. Just got some Fritos, but again, just a casual pottery platter. The sandwiches are on these gorgeous oyster plates from Charleston Street right here in Augusta. They also have an online present, so I want you to be sure to look them up because their things are just gorgeous. I've got the larger platter behind me that I use quite a bit. Always have something sweet at a cocktail party. The raspberry bars, the lemon bars, we use a lot. Those recipes are in the book. And then remember the meatloaf? How about making those into sliders? So cut the meatloaf thin, put them into a Hawaiian roll. Those work really well. And then finally, the honey pecan spread with the ginger snap is an unbelievable cocktail dip at a party. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the story behind the cookbook. So join me in my favorite easy chair. Now this is what I want you to do. I want you to find your favorite chair, your drink of choice, put that cookbook in your lap that you're pre-ordered, and you're going to just start flipping through it. First thing you're going to see is all my old recipe cards. Some were my mother's, some were my sister's, just all over the place. And then as you continue to open up and flip through the pages, you're going to see that the book is dedicated to my mother, who was my first mentor, and you're going to read about that as you continue to flip through the pages. The next thing you're going to see is that it all starts with the recipe, about my fascination with those as a child. And then it speaks to the journey with my mom and how she raised 5 children by herself. And then I mentioned my second mentor, who was my high school home economics teacher in Macon, Georgia, Catherine Dupree. And just a few weeks ago, I had the privilege of visiting her in Macon. She is 97 and a half years old. We had the most delightful visit together, and she was so touched that I dedicated that part to her in the book. It talks about how I started this business in my home and how I created from there a mail order business, that I was fortunate enough to be on Throwdown with Bobby Flay, and many, many other things about how the recipes in my business got started. You'll get introduced to my grandchildren, and then you'll get to the guts where all the recipes are. So it's really a story. There's lots of things about recipes that where they were editorialized in magazines that make it really interesting and great. I just think it's just awesome. So as I always say, no matter what you do it in good taste. I hope you'll come back and join me next week for Pies Galore. See you then.
To see what's cooking with the Very Vera Show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.